Hello everyone. Today, we will be looking at the possible evolutionary history of an ASP. We will also briefly go over the sightings and their credibility, the subject of this document being ASP-10. This evolutionary analysis has a clearance level of 1. When analyzing the credibility of a creature's existence, one must look at all aspects of its existence. This includes its evolution. While the foundation was determining if the Mothman is indeed real or not, determining the evolutionary history was a large step in figuring out if it is indeed real. It was the final piece of the puzzle of the monster Mothman. In other cases of certain cryptozoological creatures, there has been a decently clear understanding of evolution. Bigfoot is obviously a primate and a mammal. Extinct species like Dryopithecus give a good precedent for such a primate existing in North America. It may even be a direct ancestor of the modern-day Sasquatch. In the case of something such as a cave crawler, its appearance alone gives us a good indication as to how it got to be the way that it is now. Its nocturnal behavior adds to this. More specifically, the loss of skin pigmentation, elongation of the limbs, reduction/loss of the eyes, slow metabolism due to lack of food, which agrees with the reported emaciated body, and nocturnal foraging behavior all point to it being a creature that lives its life in a cave. There are primate candidates that may be able to evolve into such a creature. For example, imagine a hairless and tailless spider monkey like the one pictured here. Wouldn't it make a convincing crawler? Now, look at it side by side with a photo of a crawler. The evolutionary line is pretty clear. While these two species have a relatively clear-cut evolution, Mothman is not so lucky. Contradicting features cause its phylogenetic identity to become obscure. We will go through all the features of this red-eyed flying creature of the night and try to determine what could have possibly caused such an evolution to occur. First, we should go over the features of the Mothman. I've compiled a list based on hundreds of witness reports that I myself went through. It took a long time, but the Foundation has now compiled a file on this creature. Now, before I get into this file, I would discuss the research done to create it. There are over 500 reports of Mothman in Point Pleasant and Chicago alone, and an additional 150 in the states that surround Lake Michigan. There were even some as far as Colorado. I found these reports after only a bit of internet research. Now, you'd think this would be a boon for its credibility, but I have to sift through hundreds of reports, so I'm not all too happy about it. Either way, I did it. Here is our document. But before I read it off, I'd like to share where the name Mothman came from. This newspaper, titled Mason Countyans Hunt Mothman. Notice how moth and man were originally separated, and the article calls it the Monster Mothman, showing how the name evolved over time before becoming what it is known as today. This is not the most important bit of information, but I thought it would be interesting to include. Now, without further ado, here is the Mothman document. The Mothman is a hairy, humanoid creature described to have red eyes, 2 inches in diameter and 6 inches apart. While uncommon, ASP-10 have been described as having yellow and orange eyes, and on rare occasions even green. It can be black or different shades of gray, as well as occasionally brown or somewhere in between the three. Its height is 6 to 10 feet. It has a pair of large membranous wings with a wingspan of 10 to 15 feet used for flight. The creature can weigh roughly 200 pounds. It is extremely fast when flying, purported to go over 160 kilometers per hour or 100 miles per hour. It is clumsy and awkward when running on its legs and keeps its wings to its sides when doing so. It has talons at the bottom of its feet, although aside from this feature, its feet are still akin to that of a primate. Its head is smooth to the point of almost being bald. It eats meat and has been seen hunting squirrels. It does not like bright lights and will actively avoid them or flee when an intensely bright light is shown on it. When the light is shown on it, the creature's red eyes will reflect the light in a red hue in a manner akin to red reflectors. The Mothman may make hissing, clicking, chirping, or screeching noises. This ASP is nocturnal by nature. Its habitat spans from various parts of the United States, from the mid-Atlantic as seen in West Virginia, to the Great Lake area and Midwest as seen in Chicago, as well as all the states bordering Lake Michigan. The phylogenies of this species are the kingdom Animalia and the phylum Chordata. O'Hare National Airport, 2021, Lake Michigan, 1957, 1999, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, 1969, Colorado, 1971, 1981, 2003, the TNT area, 2012. This creature has been seen more frequently in more locations and over a broader time frame than I initially thought. It has been seen thousands of times, spanning from West Virginia all the way to Colorado, and has been consistently seen since before the 1950s. Many witnesses have described a similar creature. Some of these witnesses have added credibility as they are police officers, firemen, postal workers, which are technically federal agents, veterans, hunters, trappers, security guards, and the list goes on. Initially, there are many features of the Mothman that should be considered when attempting to understand its evolution. It has membranous wings, which are indicative of a mammal or insect. Its size indicates that it was most likely a mammal, and possibly a bird, but that is more unlikely. This also essentially rules out any evolution from any insect. It is seen to have either fur or feathers, which is representative of either being a mammal or bird. It is seemingly bipedal to a degree which which is emblematic of a mammal and possibly a bird. The Mothman may make hissing, clicking, chirping, or screeching noises, which is characteristic of birds mostly, but is fairly common among mammals. One witness also stated that after an encounter in the area, they found footprints. To quote, "There was a lone footprint that looked like that of a barefooted man. There were other footprints that looked like they were made by something that had hooves and claws. The primate-shaped prints are suggestive of a mammal. Due to the membranous wings, height of the creature, and bipedalism, the chances of this being a bird is much lower." The final question, which will completely change the entire story on this species, is, does Mothman have arms? In some reports, it's said to have wings like an angel, and the constant description of it being man-like or man-shaped creature, as well as all the artist depictions of it having arms, makes it seem like it has arms. The statue in Point Pleasant even had the creator interview people who had encounters, and the statue has arms. It is described as humanoid, and humanoid can mean arms. There is a precedent for wings to grow and cause 6 limbs like this. The Draco lizard had its ribs expand out of its body, creating membranous wings. On the other hand, it is described as bat-like and bird-like. As well, the most likely scenario in terms of evolution would have it have 4 limbs, not 6. As much as we all want Mothman to have arms, I think that sadly they only have wings and legs. So all of this evidence points to Mothman with 4 limbs and being of the class Mammalia. So, is that it? Mothman is essentially a glorified, oversized bat? Well, yeah. Kind of. That's essentially the idea in terms of evolution. It must have followed a similar evolutionary line as bats, just evolving from a different, larger mammal, and developing slightly different features and different behavior. A large part of this difference in evolution is definitely due to environmental factors as well. So in summary, Mothman has a similar evolutionary line as the bat, but with different mammal as the starting point, and different environmental factors. Now I have a question to ask you, the viewer. Does Mothman have arms? Real quick before we end this, the Foundation now has a website. I'll leave the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video. If you enjoyed or want to see more, you can always like the video to let me know and subscribe for future uploads. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.